Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Hello and welcome to Bayou Time News. I'm your host, Tanner McGee. Today we have a great guest. We have Councilman John Amedee on with us. Welcome to the show.
Tanner, it's a pleasure to be here as always.
Absolutely. Excited to have you on. We're going to talk about some stuff that's happening in the council right now. I think we got some really interesting things going on. They may not be super sexy items, but they're definitely kind of stuff that people are interested in.
A lot of the things that we do are routine. They're not always super sexy, but I think we got a couple of things going on that people will be interested in hearing about.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's kind of talk. We'll start with downtown. Y'all got some new things going on downtown. Y'all are working on kind of sprucing it up. Just tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so the Houma Restoration District, which exactly what I'm talking about because while you were in the House, you were the guy that created this in an effort to be able to bring some state dollars into the local government. And I want to thank you for that because they're doing a fantastic job. And what we're looking at is 2 intergovernmental agreements for them to do some projects downtown with some of the monies that they have. And I think it's needed. It's a very much a safety issue. After looking at the Rotary Centennial Plaza and the lights, they came up with the project to add lights to the boardwalk. So, I mean, why not? It's pretty dark back there, and adding these lights is going to really help with safety in a couple of areas. 1, nobody's going to be able to walk up on you in the darkness. And then 2, you'll be able to see where you're at so that you don't step off into the bayou. And I think that's really important. A second project that they're doing is maintaining the rails, handrails and stuff, not just on the walkway, but also the bridges, going in, sprucing them up, beautifying them. I mean, we have a real big focus on downtown Houma. We're trying to get it back from the damages of Hurricane Ida. And I really applaud that group for stepping up because if you look at any town, downtown is basically the heart. It's where a lot of business is done, and we're trying to bring business back to downtown Houma. If we can draw people back into downtown Houma from outside the community because of some of the events that we have downtown and some of the activities that we're proposing to do here in the near future, then that increases our tax base that can be spread out throughout the parish, not just downtown.
Absolutely. I know from talking to you and working with you in the past, you look at Terrebonne Parish a lot like I looked at it in the legislature, which is it's one parish, and we're here to try and make the entire parish good. I never looked at my district lines. They had legislators, oh, that's outside my district. Like, dude, it's 5 feet outside your district. People in your district go there all the time. We all live together. We're all one community. What's good for downtown is good for the entirety of the parish. What's good for Berg is good for downtown. What's good for Chauvin is good for downtown. What's good for Gray is good for downtown.
Tanner, I tell everybody, I said, in Schriever, we don't need levees. But we know that if we don't get behind levees in the southern part of the parish in 50 years, Schriever is going to be the waterfront properties. So, yeah, I agree. We have to look at the parish globally and think of the economy globally. We want to help individual districts where we can and do the things, but sometimes it just makes more sense to focus in on an area that's going to benefit everybody, and then everybody benefits from it so that when we receive those tax dollars, then we can split them up and accomplish projects, walking trails or parks, things like that, beautification projects. The air base is one. We'd like to start investing in there and really getting it to where it needs to be.
Yeah, I'm glad you highlighted that. That's one of the ones, if I have a regret in my time in office, we weren't able to capitalize on making the airbase something more than what it is. And it's primed. I mean, the land's there. It's got some interesting architecture, geographical features to it, and just sitting there.
And Tanner, there's a plan already drawn up for that park. add some soccer fields in between the baseball fields and the main portion of the park. So it's just a matter of getting funding. Unfortunately, while you were in the legislature, you know, you had that big fiscal cliff, so they quit sending capital outlay for parks. And hopefully we can get all of that under control and start beautifying our state again. And I think our lieutenant governor is really big on that. Billy Nungester is really pushing where he can push to help communities out in those aspects of beautification.
Absolutely. And look, you know, I'm glad you brought that up as well. I think we should all look at it as our own personal responsibility. Don't litter. Like, I mean, honestly, God, like that drives me nuts more than anything else. Is seeing like you not respect what God gave you enough to not throw your trash on the ground. I mean, that drives me nuts more than anything else. It's a beautiful area. It's a beautiful place we live, and to see you throw your sneakers.
It's too easy to just, you know, everybody shops at Walmart and some of these places. They put your groceries in a little plastic bag. Put that in your car. When you have trash, just fill that up. When you get out, drop it in the can.
Yeah,
It's too easy to do. And, you know, we've done the cleanups on the bayous and so forth. And you clean it up this week and it looks the same as it did before in just a week. So the public really needs to take a little bit more action on that.
Absolutely. And look, y'all are doing a lot more than just doing downtown. Y'all, I know y'all are working on some small stuff, but something that's kind of been a big issue is mosquitoes. And I think y'all are doing some changes on that. Tell us what's going on with mosquitoes.
Well, what we're doing, we're renewing the contract. So it went out for proposals, and the company that is currently doing it was the winning proposal. So they're going to be renewing their contract. And speaking with them, they've really got a hold to what we've experienced over the past year with the drought and then the fires flooding the marsh, which really caused the mosquito population to increase. So I think we're starting to get a little bit of a grip on it. And as they continue the work that they're doing, we're going to stay on them and make sure that they do all the things necessary to get that population under control, because we don't want to spread any disease as well.
Absolutely. It's a big public safety issue, and I applaud y'all for working to get it done. We're going to take a break. Be right back with Councilman John Amedee.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Welcome back. We're talking to Councilman John Amedee. We're going on what's going on with the council right now. John, we were in the break talking about Mardi Gras. It's something everybody loves down here. It's one of those great gatherings we have. Some changes coming, all positive changes. Tell us what y'all are doing with Mardi Gras.
So what we're doing, Tanner, is we're increasing the number of floats that they can have in the parades. We were limited at 35. We're moving that up to 45, because what we've seen in the past, some of the bigger crews like Hercules was having to piggyback some of their floats. Another thing that people don't realize all the time is that we use floats for the Christmas parade, and we've been selling out the floats for that. So by increasing this, more people can participate in the Christmas parade, going up to 45 floats. I think it's going to be beneficial to the crews as well, because they're busting at the seams. They want to grow as well. This gives them an opportunity to, and then the public as a whole. People from all around the area like to come to Houma because it's more of a family-friendly Mardi Gras. And when we can increase the size and get more people in and get them more excited about what's happening, then they spend more money in our community. We collect more tax dollars. We put more people in our hotels and restaurants so that they can be successful at their businesses. So I think a small thing of increasing by 10 floats is going to have a big impact.
Absolutely. And look, you're seeing the crews in New Orleans get bigger every year. It's just part of the natural progression of Mardi Gras is that you're just going to need more floats at some point.
Absolutely. Like I was saying, it doesn't just affect that, but and then St. Patty's, people, that's really catching on. People are really getting excited about that. It's not that we're trying to overtake the New Orleans area on Mardi Gras. We're just trying to have a good time, keep things not overcrowded, not pinching off the crews, but allowing them to expand in the way that they desire to.
Absolutely. And you got some big news coming, I think, for one of your former councilmen, and a big award, and you want to talk about it. I think Councilman Guidry is getting a huge award. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the only elected official in the country that got this award this year, and it's the U.S. Small Business Administration's Phoenix Award, and it's for outstanding contributions to disaster recovery by a public official. And as you know, because you were down there after the storm and seeing him work, I was also. In fact, we were having to go down there and almost force feed this guy because he wouldn't stop long enough to eat, because he had such a passion for his community and his people that he was just out there day and night trying to get things done. And I'm glad that it was recognized and that he was recognized. He was able to go up to D.C. recently to receive the award, and then in Baton Rouge as well. And we want to make sure that in his community he gets the recognition that he so rightly deserves.
Oh, look, I was down there as you were. I saw you down there, and nobody was working harder than Dirk. I mean, just sweating. I still have pictures of him in my mind, just drenched in sweat, yelling at Norby Scheiber, Norby yelling at Dirk, then the fire chief getting involved and everything else. But I mean, everybody was working, trying to get things, but nobody worked harder than Dirk did. It was unbelievable.
I know. You know, he needed a forklift. He got on the phone. He called somebody. He's like, "Look, somebody in the parish is going to pay for this forklift. You get this thing down here. We got to unload some trucks. You know, we don't want to break these people's backs on what they were doing." And for anybody that says otherwise, they weren't there watching.
I'm with you.
This cat was working.
I could see him grabbing the ice and throwing it. I mean, there was no job too small for him to do. It wasn't just, take a picture and move on to the next stop. It was
It definitely wasn't a photo out for him.
it was busting his butt, sweating. I was actually kind of worried he might have a stroke or something. He was,
Well,
he was
that's
so hot.
one of the concerns that Beryl and I had, and that's why we were making sure, he would eat. It's like, and literally, Tanner had a bowl in the hand and a spoon, and almost having a spoon feed this guy to get him to slow down long enough to eat.
Oh, absolutely.
And I told him, I said, Dirk, if you continue going without replenishing that energy in your body, you're not going to be good to your people at all. So that would convince him to stop and grab a bite, but he wouldn't take too many.
No, and look, it's a big award. I mean, this is the only person in the United States that are getting this entire award for
And
what
it's
we did.
Terrebonne Parish.
Yeah. And look, it's from the Small Business Administration. That's a big organization. That's a huge, that's a big
It
deal.
impacts every place in the country. They touch every community in the country. So for our community to have a award recipient of this nature really speaks a lot for the character of the people in Terrebonne Parish, not just for Dirk.
Absolutely. He's definitely what we call a public servant.
Yeah.
Switching gears a little bit, or a lot, you got some stuff going on as far as you want to make the public aware about what's the Terrebonne General and services between Hadel family practice and the juvenile justice system.
So a lot of people don't realize that, when they think of the jail, they think of the sheriff. But Terrebonne Parish government actually owns the buildings and provides the services in there for the sheriff. The sheriff operates it because of the law enforcement aspect of it. And so, from time to time, we have to renew contracts or enter into contracts with doctors and nurses and the sort in order to keep the inmates there healthy and their needs met on a medical nature.
And look, we're getting pressed for time, but people probably do realize it, but it's probably not talked about enough, is that we don't have mental health services left anymore. A lot of the only mental health care you're getting is actually in the jail system, sadly, but that's the biggest provider nationally of mental health services.
It is, and I have to applaud some of the local organizations here in town, Start Corporation being one, because when I find somebody, a constituent in my district that could use mental health, that has mental health needs, they have a REACT team, a street team that I can call and ask, and they'll send them out. And that's a start, but we got a long way to go with that. So we're going to have to really look at investing more dollars into that.
Oh, absolutely. There's no inpatient facilities anymore. It's
Right.
It's really gotten sad, and we wonder why people go do the things they do when we're not even worried about trying, or not that we're not worried, but we're not doing enough to treat them on their phone.
Exactly.
That's all the time we have with Councilman John Amedee. See you next time.